Today, you will learn how to survive in business because my story is about survival. Until this year, I had a very limited understanding of the world survival. And, I always connected it with like extreme situations I was putting myself in during my backpackers trips. And it all began in Cambodia like 6 years ago. And since then, I was like visiting Asia every single year. So you know what? Long walks in a jungle, swimming with sharks, zip lining, driving tuk-tuks, and many more. It was extreme, especially in rainy season, when you have those horde of leeches jumping on your legs with, those sharp strings. And at the end of the day, you end up with your legs full of mud and blood mixed all together. And all you dream about is a can of Coke, which is like, 80 miles away. I try to involve others in my survival trips, and actually with different effect. So this is my wife, Olga, and we just finished 20 miles trekking in mountains. And imagine full sun, 30 degrees, and we landed in a village in the middle of nowhere with no electricity, no hot water. And we stayed in a bamboo house for one night. The temperature went down to like 5 degrees, so it was freezing at night. And we had to wake up 5 a.m. in the morning and had another 20 miles mountain trekking to get to the final destination. And I have to admit, Olga was very brave at this particular moment. But this particular picture reminds me on the fact that survival is not fun for everybody. Today, I'm gonna tell you my story of my business survival. And maybe you're wondering what sector I represent. And so I used to organize events. And although I don't see your faces right now, probably some of you smiled. Because, now in Poland, traditional events are forbidden, and so it is in many other countries. So I especially am faced the work the world used to. So we used to do those really big events like 1,000 plus attendees, big stages, lots of multimedia, sound and lights. And as you can imagine, it's all gone now. Nada. At the moment, my perception of the world is that people are struggling. So this is something I see on the streets. This is something I see when chatting with my friends. It's somewhere everywhere. It's simply everywhere. And of course, there is a fraction of us who benefit from COVID-19 situation, like, e-commerce, pharma businesses, or electronics. But in general, the society is struggling. The government tells us to wear masks. The government tells us to stay home, to limit social encounters. And what do we have instead? Nothing. Moreover, our companies struggle and go out of business. And I have to say this, 2020, you are really a big catch. So for me, 2020 started actually very well because I was the lucky one to have this long holiday on Sri Lanka. And at the beginning of the year, we heard that there is something like coronavirus and it existed somewhere there in China. But China is far away. Europe is here and we didn't take it seriously. When being on Sri Lanka, I remember a joke from Sam. Sam is the guy on the photo, which you see right now. And he's the owner of a small hotel in Tangale Beach. And when we were drinking Corona beer, he found me and he shouted, "Man, don't do it, you will get coronavirus," and we all started laughing and so on. Because at this particular point in January, in February, nobody took the virus seriously. And then the March came. So I'm gonna jump into my business survival story. So my story begins on 13th of March 2020. And I perfectly remember that day because this was the day when we signed a huge contract with the client for like the exceptional event. So the tender procedure took like 5 months. And so you can imagine it was something special for us. And moreover, we were underdog in this race. So we were not the favorite. We had limited chances. We had very strong competitors, and not many bet on us that time. But we won, and we signed a deal. And since it was supposed actually to be one of the biggest events in 15 years of company history, and since we are Polish, we decided to throw a party and celebrate the success next Tuesday. And then the Monday came, memorable Monday. Why? Because this is a kind of Monday you remember, because if the client calls you at 7 a.m. in the morning, you can expect some troubles. And the client we signed on Friday, I talked to you about, so he simply asked us to throw the agreement away because headquarters in Germany predicted that due to COVID-19 situation, the event will not happen in June, and actually they were right. And this was actually the beginning. By the end of the day, our phone line was simply red. And it was like a small snowball which brought the whole avalanche to us. And by the end of the day, we lost additional 10% of the business. By Wednesday, we lost 50%. And actually, Friday was a real killer because we lost 95% of the business. And I was trying to find a proper photo to visualize how we felt that particular minute. And guess what? I found one. And, I guess this picture gives you a good glimpse of our state of mind and at this particular moment. So this is Muhammad Ali and his opponent after a huge knockout. And of course, we are the guy lying on the ground. So now think for a moment. All your clients, gone. All your contracts, gone. All your plans and dreams for 2020 and not only, they are gone. So you actually feel nothing. It's not anger. It's not disappointment. It's like a huge, massive emptiness, period. Huge emptiness. And this state of mind accompanied us for like 1 week. And then me and my business partner, Kasia, realized, that all we've been working for the last 15 years is gone. And there is nothing we can do about it. But you know what? We were wrong. There was something we could do about it. Because the first dots we connected were people cannot resign from organizing events just like that. It's simple. So, you have all those general meetings, you have award ceremonies, you have annual meetings, all those different kind of encounters which you cannot delete hard. It's not a game. It's not, a place. There is no button when you can press it and delete hard. No more events on the earth. So it's impossible. So people will have to meet one way on another. And this is the moment, and this is how our online journey began. So our intuition told us, let's invest in online world because the traditional world is not going to be back soon, if ever. So we made 3 moves. And move number 1, let's find a virtual platform with the best perspectives. So to be honest, back then in March, there was no perfect solution as far as virtual platforms were concerned. The market was like in a constant move, and new solutions were evolving on the market, and it was developing fast, but the demand demand was very big on the solutions. And there was no perfect option, but we were not aiming for perfect option. We were just aiming for the platform with the best perspectives. And we found it. And there comes the move number 2. So move number 2 is called studio production. So our partner company decided to step up and set up a space with, where you can have a high quality production with all those VMix cameras, sound, lights, and 2 amazing stages. So the stage you see right now is the stage number 1 of the studio, and later on during the IPMA award ceremony today, you will see the second stage which was built specially here in Warsaw. So this is move number 2. And there is move number 3. So we have the platform, we have the studio, and now we need to know how to do it. So let's learn how to do online. And although we had some background, because online event is still the event, yeah. But there is so much to learn. New technology, the cameras, different dynamic, and of course, one extra thing, the client education. So we knew little about virtual events. Client knew nothing. So how do you learn the best? So the best you learn from your own mistakes. And although we were learning really quickly, we didn't want to risk the failure of our client event, so we organized our own business conference and we named it Spark of Change. So on the stage, 20 speakers on board, 10 hours of non-stop live production, dynamic animations, and it was all in April this year, in April 2020. So we had less than 1 month between March and April. So we had less than 1 month to get our shit together, to work on a kick-ass program, recruit speakers, and do it actually on the highest level. And you know what? We did it. So Spark of Change, the conference I tell you about, gave us a spark. So this was a spark we really needed to ignite, a spark to aim high, a spark to believe in our journey and don't stop what we've just started. So now we know this. We know how to organize virtual events, period. And you know what? We were so wrong. So we had March, we had April, now we have May. And we got our first client, hooray. So probably our reaction was a little bit more enthusiastic, but this is how it was. So the first client is on board, and we were so pumped up because it was like, it was like the light at the end of the dark tunnel. It was this small rabbit which you are chasing and you finally got it, you chase it, and it's in your hands. But the event was in 3 weeks' time, and we simply realized, oh boy, we are actually in big troubles. Why? First, because the event is in 3 weeks. Second, because it's a 5-day international conference with more than 1,200 attendees and 80 speakers. And third, nobody on the market knew how to deliver even that big back in May on the level that was satisfactory to the client, because it was May, because everything was a mess, because we just got hit by COVID, and new virtual event solutions were emerging on the market, but they were not tested that well. So you know what? I shared the good news with my teammates that, we have this very first client and it's going to be amazing and we are going to survive, and my teammate, I really remember this, said, my teammate Marcin, he told me, Michael, you are crazy. It's impossible to do it. And he probably used some more juicy words, but this was the intention. And you know what? I responded with something like this. Maybe I am crazy, but I'm going to deliver it. Not sure how, but I am. Because this is what I do. When somebody tells me this cup is half empty, I immediately say, hey, you are wrong. This cup is half full. So I see the bright side of every single story. So, my soccer team lost. And, it's okay. They are still the best. We lost a tender. It's fine. Probably it's better because now we can concentrate on our energy on delivering the different event at this particular time. I simply perfectly knew that signing the deal, it was over-promised to the client. But in my mind, I thought we have no other choice. Because when you fight for survival, all hands on deck. So with my business partner, we always say, he who doesn't risk never gets to drink a champagne. And there is something about it. So back to the client. Day number 1 of the conference arrived. And I have to say, this was one of the worst days of my life. So basically, we were not the only one who decided to organize virtual event, and it happened to be this particular day that a lot of different events were organized, were launched. So let's say like this. Imagine you cook a dinner and you prepare this whole chicken for your family, a big one, a really big one. And then you get a call from a friend who tells you that he's coming over. And in 5 minutes, you get another call from your friend, another friend, and he said that he's coming over, but he's also bringing 5 extra people. So it used to be a big chicken, and it seemed to be very big for your family, but it's not big anymore. And believe me or not, this particular day, streaming servers simply collapsed because there were too many friends at the party. So let's say like this: if your streaming servers are down and you are just about launching a big conference, you are simply helpless. So this is how we felt. Of course, the client was furious. Yeah, it was his big day. His big day was on, and nothing worked. And once again, we simply reached the rock bottom. So our very first virtual event client and a huge failure. Knockdown number 2. The remaining 4 days of the event were a nightmare, and we were very disappointed by the fact that we didn't deliver what we simply promised. So we didn't trust our solution, we didn't trust our skills, and once again, everything was a mess. And at the end of the month, you simply get this chart with detailed information which days the streaming servers had some troubles. And you know what? It was all green, all month green, except this one particular day, the day our virtual event journey started. So there is this funny word which I learned this year, and it's called resilience. And according to the dictionary, resilience is like the ability of a substance to return to its usual shape after being bent, stretched, or pressed. And first 2 quarters of 2020 stretched us a lot. So lot of disappointments, constant failures, broken dreams. But it was high time we get up and fight and return actually to its usual shape. So after the first client came many more. So we learned the technology, we created the team, and we started doing it all right. It was not easy, the road was still bumpy, but since June we managed to deliver multiple successful virtual events. And we set up this company called Online Event Support. So this is the project which works for international clients and international event organizers. And those pictures you are seeing right now are the ones taken during the last 2 months. So now we are able to deliver high quality studio production broadcast and actually combine it with multiple networking options, which we simply introduce on virtual platforms. And the best part is we do it exactly from here, from Warsaw, Poland, and we can actually work with every single event organizer wherever he is. So this is the magic of virtual events. The reason why I'm standing on this stage today and has this wonderful opportunity to talk to you and instead of going out of business is because I simply stuck to 5 life hacks which made me walk through that bumpy and rough road which began in March 2020. And I'm gonna share them with you. I'm not saying it's gonna work for everybody, but it simply worked for me. It worked for us. It worked for our company. And without them, I would probably have to pack my toys. So life hack number 1, allow yourself to make mistakes. So I don't simply trust people who don't make mistakes because they don't exist. So if we do something right all the time, we hardly even learn. When you finish the event with success, the client congratulates you, says it was perfect, it was great, and you simply don't analyze what went wrong because you feel you made the right job. Failures, they have this educational value, which I respect a lot. So when you lose, you start thinking, you start questioning your abilities, you start connecting the different dots. So this is the moment when you simply start to grow. Michael Jordan, I missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed it. I failed over and over again in my life. And this is why I succeed. And there is, Thomas Edison, the inventor of bulb. So he actually failed frequently. So sometimes it took him like 10,000 tries to deliver something. So there is this friend of him, Walter Mallory, and he said that Edison tried like 9,000 times one experiment, and then the Edison responded very quickly. Results? Why, man? I've got lots of results. I know several thousand things that won't work. And remember our first client, virtual event client I told you about? So we made some huge mistakes back then. And you know what? It's still our client. Those photos you see right now behind me are the photos taken in October, beginning of October this year, 2020, when we delivered a hybrid event to this particular client. And this time we made it right. We nailed it. So, it's not about how many mistakes you make. It's about what conclusions you draw out of them. And if you are brave enough to face the consequences of failure with your actually head up. So life hack number 1, in order to grow, you have to risk. You have to take a risk. And you are allowed to make mistakes while chasing your dream. It's actually your privilege, and you should use it wisely. Then goes life hack number 2. Strong team is everything. So it's of ultimate importance whom you are surrounded with, what business partners you have, who are the people you work with on a regular basis. So in order to overcome all those obstacles served by 2020, good team is a crucial factor. So I was never the smartest. I was never the fastest. I was never the best in my group. But since I remember, I tried to surround myself with people who are. So, for instance, when being in college, I played soccer. I was the last defender. The guy who has the overview over the whole pitch. Was I a good player? Oh, hell no. No. But I had this ability to make my colleagues stronger, to make them believe in their skills, to lead them to victories. And this is what I do in business. So to be honest, I have very limited knowledge about technology, but I'm surrounded with people, I'm surrounded by people who understand it, who understand the technology and know how to make use of it. So strong team is everything. Same with business partner Kasia. So I have this business partner and we are like water and fire. And I have to say I'm the water guy. So I'm the water, Kasia is a fire. But since we have these different skill sets, we managed to analyze the situations from different perspectives. And this is what we did in March 2020. So we started talking, we started analyzing the situations, and we started to do it from different angles. And at the end of the day, we simply said, let's risk, let's go online. And you know what? Even if I have a bad day, I know there is somebody who has my back. Okay, so there is life hack number 3, and it goes like this. Simply be patient. Don't just do things. Simply believe in them, believe in yourself, and find your passion. So since I remember, I never hated Mondays. Mondays were cool because, you could start over. You could move your ideas on the next level. And actually, I never understood those memes where people were sharing how much they hate the first day of the week. And for me, it was always simple. If I don't like my job, I change it. And when I was young, I made this promise to myself. So when you are asked at school who you want to be in the future, so people, my colleagues were sharing their dreams. Yeah, I'm gonna be an economist, a lawyer, a banker, a policeman, and whatever. And I simply said, I want to be happy. And all I do since this day is to be as close as possible to fulfilling my promise. The promise I made that particular day. And I tend to believe that everything depends on you and actually your mindset. So in order to visualize that, let's take a look at this chart. So this is a famous 50-10-40 formula, which was actually developed by a positive psychologist, Sonia Lubomirsky. And this is one of the most quoted facts about happiness, and it goes as follows. So 50% of happiness is determined by your genes. Yeah, so you are either on this half or on this half. Yeah, so good genes, bad genes. And you have additional 10% of happiness, which is determined by the circumstances in which you actually live. And there is this 40% of happiness, which is determined by your action, which is determined by your attitude, your optimism, and the way you handle situations, the way you move forward. And this backs up a thesis that huge part of our happiness is self-made, and it depends actually entirely on you, not on circumstances, not on genes. So from my perspective, 40% is an enormous fraction. And the action is all you need over here. So when I go back to like March 2020, we stayed down after the knockdown, but deep down inside, we knew that we have to take the action. And we could not wait for the rescue from the government. Yeah, there's not going to be a hand which is going to be delivered by the government, and the government is going to pull you out. So, the positive mindset and unconditional belief, at the end of the day, it's all we needed. We knew that it's going to be okay. And it gave us the fuel for all the action. So, life hack number 3. I simply challenge you to find your passion. I challenge you to recall those 40%, which depends entirely on you, every time you have doubts or you need like a motivator to move forward. This is life hack number 3. Life hack number 4, trust your guts. So, business is not entirely about charts, about financial statements, about hard data. So you were born with your gut. So maybe it's a good time to start using it. And back then in March 2020, we had actually no idea what virtual events was. And when I look at this moment from perspectives, I see that our first approaches, they were wrong. We had bad assumptions. But, deep down inside, we knew that this was our way. This is the way we want to handle the situation. And there was no evidence that this way will give us the reward, but we felt it inside. We knew one thing. Without trusting our gut, without finding a new purpose, there will be no survival. So we started our journey, and we simply told ourselves that, we are not going to stop. And, but even if we collapse, we simply stood up. And for me, connecting with my inner guts is simply essential for the business. So when people around tell you, don't do it, don't go there, don't do this action, do something else. So instead of trusting them like unconditionally, ask yourself if you want to do it. And if you want to do it, just do it. So life hack number 4 goes like this. Disconnecting from all the voices around and trying to ask your deep gut what is wrong and what is right. What's wrong, what's right. For me, it's the only way to find a good solution, is to find a good solution which I'm comfortable with. And this is what I believe in. And the last one, the life hack number 5. So aim high and be creative. And I always say that when you have limited amount of moves, when life brings you to the corner, when you have no more moves around, so this is the moment you can release your creativity properly. So because you simply have nothing to lose. You are down there, you are on the ground. And in this particular moment, when I am down, I'm start dreaming. And you know what's good thing about dreams? You know, even the sky is not the limit. So the minute you start dreaming, you open those new opportunities. And with my business partner Kasia, we started dreaming and telling ourselves that we'll get stronger from the situation like never before. That, you know, we'll invest in ourselves, in our company, and with new energy, the new market opportunities will appear. And this was exactly what actually happened. And it took us 6 months not only to survive on the market, but also to develop new competences, which which made us stronger like never before. So our dream was to deliver events outside of Poland, and look at us now. We work with clients from US, from Asia, from Western Europe, and we are still hungry. We are still hungry to conquer new markets, and this is just the beginning of our dream, which comes true. And when fulfilling your dream, it is like walking towards the top of the mountain. So you don't see the results right away. Yeah? You trip, you get dehydrated, and a lot of us stop on this phase and don't go forward. Yeah, we are like this, instant society. We want to have results right away, like going to McDonald's and getting the burger. Yeah, I want to have it right now. Not in 5 minutes, in 1 minute, it's gonna be in our hands. And that's why we give up. We give up very easily because this is the world taught us to do so. So, going up the hill, and when you go up the hill and you look towards the hill, you don't see what's behind you, and you don't see the amount of work you've done. And there is this magic moment, this one magic moment before you reach the top. So you're not on the top yet, but when you turn around, because suddenly you turned around, you see that you are above the tree line, and now you see how high you are. And I look at the last 6 months. I look at my team and the enormous work they did, and I'm truly proud of them. I'm truly proud of us. And I know that, the top is still far away. And I know that it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be muddy. But with those people I'm surrounded with, it's simply worth climbing. So we are broadcasting from live from studio in Warsaw, Poland. And I simply challenged my control room to choose a proper soundtrack for the final statement of this session. As the company, we survived. Not only we survived, but also evolved by taking action in very unfavorable circumstances. If we could do it, you can do it as well. So because no matter how hard there is always a way out. So think for a moment. Why people don't fancy COVID-19 situation? There's one big reason, because it's connected with the change. And I know one thing for sure, we don't like to change. We don't like to stretch, we don't like to challenge ourselves for 2 reasons. 1, because the fear of failure. And 2, because the fear of success. What if I succeed? What if I manage to be on top of the mountain and I simply won't handle it? it's very warm here in a comfort zone, but is the world about staying in our comfort zone? Life is not about making it all, nice and easy. Sometimes you have to jump in order to get some mud. Yeah? The harder the challenge is, the more satisfaction you get. And remember one thing. Everything, simply everything, will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.